What's up? This is Richie from the Where We Wild YouTube channel, and today I'm going to give you guys what I think are the best Shimano casting reels you can buy for the money. Let's get into it. Alright, well, it is a dark, rainy day here where I'm at, and you might hear the rain smashing the windows. I had to set up a light. See how that works out. A little bit of a shadow, but hey man, gotta do what you gotta do. It's like pitch black dark. It's just insane. It's been raining for like 3 days straight, and I live in California, so that's pretty nuts. So if you're a subscriber to this channel, you know I'm insane, and I'm a Shimano reel guy. I make a lot of take apart videos and show how to do reel maintenance on all these Shimano reels, and you know, I'm just diehard fisherman, man. So I have a lot of Shimano reels. You know, I've tested out a bunch of them. I own a lot of them. So I put together a little list here to maybe help you out if you're just starting out, you're not sure what to buy, and you don't want to break the bank. I put together a few here that I think are the absolute best bang for your buck Shimano casting reels, whether you're, you know, a beginner or a pro, but just more budget minded like I am. I don't really like to spend up for ridiculous reels that are, you know, $500, $600, $700, $800. I mean, it's awesome. If you have the money, go for it. But there are some really good solid reels for under $250 in Shimano's lineup, and some under $200. All right, so let's get into this, man. First and foremost, I am going to talk about the Shimano Curado K. Sorry if this light is bouncing off the box, but yeah, it's pitch black, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Shimano Curado K has been replaced by the Shimano Curado M, so you can find those reels on sale at a lot of places. I know there are some 201 HGs left on Tackle Warehouse. I will link all these reels, by the way. Links will be in the description. You can just go right there and go grab them. These are starting to go, man. They're starting to go, but if you can get your hands on them, eBay, Tackle Warehouse, Amazon, wherever you can find them, Curado K, baby. This thing is an absolute workhorse, super smooth. You can never go wrong with a Curado. And you know, like I said, they're on sale right now. They're probably around 150 bucks, maybe even cheaper. So that's definitely first on my list, Curado K. Now, if you're not sure about gear ratios, you know, that's another rabbit hole we can go down, and I prefer specific gear ratios for certain techniques. You know, if I'm gonna throw, I don't know, a crankbait, I'm gonna be going with a 6 gear ratio, maybe a 7 if I'm, you know, trying to get it moving really fast. Spinnerbait, low gear ratio, you know, 6, maybe a 7. If I'm throwing a jig and I'm using the rod to do most of the work and I just need the reel to take up slack and gain on a fish so I can smash them real fast, I'm gonna go up to the XG reels, which are 8 gear ratios. Swim baits, I'm jumping all the way down to 5 or 6 gear ratios. You know, every technique requires a different ratio, but just so you know, in Shimano speak, the normal 200 or 201s, which by the way, a 200 means righty and a 201 means lefty. So if it ends in a 1, it's a lefty, ends in a 0, it's a righty. But the normal 201s, say, are a 6 gear ratio. The 201 HG is a 7 gear ratio. And then when you have something that says XG, it's an 8 gear ratio. But yeah, to start us off, man, Curado K, absolute workhorse, and I love it. Now, if you want to bump up a little bit to the new Curado M, I have one of those too. It's actually the same box, which is pretty nuts, but that's a good reel too. Haven't used it as much as the Curado K yet because it's still fairly new, but what I've seen of it so far, pretty sick. It's got an MGL type of spool. It takes a little time to get used to dialing in and casting, but it's a caster, man. It'll bomb once you dial that thing in. So I look forward to using that reel more. Next up on the list, speaking of Curados, is a monster and one of my absolute favorite reels, the Curado MGL 150. This thing is disgusting for the price, all right? You could probably throw BFS baits on this thing if you really wanted to. Like, it's stupid, man. Like, I mean, it's just an amazing reel. The drag is great, really smooth drag. I don't even know how much, 13 pounds of drag on this thing. I'm not gonna get into specs on all these reels. You can check that out online. I mean, I'm just talking about how these things fish, you know, and you can't go wrong with any Curado, but this thing right here is amazing. The MGL 150 across the board. You can throw any single bait you can think of on this thing pretty much, besides like gigantic swim baits. So I have one of these in every gear ratio, the MGL 150. I have pretty much every gear ratio in the Curado 201K too, but that is definitely a must-have in your arsenal. MGL 150, man. Love it. Next up on the list, I don't have the box. I'm sorry, by the way, I didn't take the reels off my rods to actually show you. I will probably put a picture like right there of all these reels, but they're all, you know, rigged up and stuff, and I didn't want to cut all the line off and tape up the spool and everything, but I keep all the boxes for all these reels, so I figured I would just use the box. However, I don't have the box on me of the next reel I'm going to mention, which is the base model Shimano SLX. That reel is sweet, dude. For $100, you can't really go wrong with that thing. I mean, it's going to last probably forever if you take care of it, as will all these Shimano reels. And that's why I'm such a big Shimano fan, dude, because you can always get parts for these reels. I bought an old school Shimano Castaic from like the early 90s or late 80s last year. And I found parts for it, no problem. You know, the reels that are 20, 30 years old, you're still able to find parts. You can't do that with a lot of other brands. Daiwa, you probably can, but you know, Shimano and Daiwa, dude, they're gonna last you a lifetime if you take care of them. Absolutely. So where was I here? The base model SLX, that is what Jamie uses, the missus. She absolutely loves it. That was her first caster. She caught her PB on it day one of using it, which was awesome. You can check that video out as well. That was really cool to see. But you can't really go wrong with that reel for $100. Now, if you bump up $25, $30, maybe even less if they're on sale, I recommend getting one of my absolute favorite reels, which is the SLX XT. Now, for that extra $25, $30, what are you getting that you're not getting in the normal SLX? One huge thing, and it's that outside brake adjustment, man, and that thing is huge. This reel is, like I said, what, $125, $130, and it's basically my favorite reel. I can beat them up. They cast amazing. They fish amazing. I upgraded the drag washers on all these. I have every one, dude. I have the 6, 7, and 8 gear ratio. I absolutely love this reel. It's just mind-blowing. Like, I'll be fishing this thing so many times, and I'll literally impress myself with it. Like, I'll bomb a cast, and I'll look down at it and go, Jesus, like, this thing is impressive for how much money it is. But that tick up in price there to get you that outside brake adjustment, so you can just micro adjust your brakes instead of having to crack open the reel and turn brakes on and off one at a time, is so worth the extra $20, $25 to me. If that's not a big deal to you, the normal SLX, save 25, 30 bucks. That reel is awesome too. But right here, man, I love it. Absolutely love it. SLX XT. Speaking of the SLX line, the next one on the list is the SLX MGL 70 or 71. This thing's ridiculous too. This thing absolutely bomb casts. I can spool it very, very easily. So if you're a shore fisherman, you know, go with that XT. You know, you're gonna be able to keep more line on it. You know, the 70 is a smaller spool. You don't have enough line sometimes if you're bombing something like a blade bait or anything like that, where you can spool this reel, no problem. No problem. It just bombs, but it's so amazingly smooth. And just one of my favorite reels, and it really, really shines if you have a boat and you're pitching and flipping, you know, just short pitching and flips. And I mean, you can still cast this thing a mile too, but you're gonna spool it. But yeah, this is probably the best bang for your buck option for a pitching and flipping reel, I think. It's ridiculous. And these actually are getting replaced by a new version of this reel as well. So I haven't looked into that reel yet, but if it's anything like this one, man, definitely a great bang for your buck option right there. The whole SLX line, dude, you cannot go wrong with. Same with the Curado line, you cannot go wrong with. That's what I love with about Shimano. Those two lines are amazing, they're affordable. And then, of course, you know, you can bump up and you can spend more money on the DC reels, the Curado DC, SLX DC. I'll be honest with you, man, I'm not a big DC guy. I'm just not. I find that I can outcast some of my friends that have DC reels with that MGL spool. I mean, it's just my thing, man. I'm just more of an MGL guy than a DC guy. The sound kind of bothers my ears a little bit. I mean, they're awesome. If that's you're looking for a DC reel, the Curado DC is the way to go for you. And the SLX DC, although not as good as the Curado DC, for the money, that's probably a great option if you're looking for a DC reel. But it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. I'm an MGL guy. So those are pretty much my picks for just your basic casting reels. That Curado line you cannot go wrong with. The SLX line you cannot go wrong with, and especially those specific models there, man, are just absolutely ridiculous for the money. Now, moving on to a little bit of a smaller technique. Well, it's a bigger technique, but a smaller like niche technique, big swim baits. There are two main reels from Shimano that, well, actually three. There are three main reels from Shimano. Two are the same reel, but different sizes, that I prefer for big swim baits. First and foremost, let's talk about the Shimano Cardiff. This is a Shimano Cardiff 301, very affordable, $120 something, maybe 140. I'll put all the prices down on the bottom of the screen, but it's between like $125 and $150. It might be $149.99. I forget. It's been a while. But that Cardiff 301 is an amazing swim bait reel for the price. It is probably the best budget swim bait reel you can buy. Other than, now this one is actually on the table here wide open because I was just working on it. And this is its bigger brother, the Shimano Cardiff 401. And as you can see, I have a big GOMEXUS style handle on this thing. I'll link those in the description as well because they're awesome. Yeah, this Cardiff 301 and 401 are amazing. The only difference between them is if you're gonna be using straight mono, like thick mono or thick fluoro, and you need more room for line on the spool, go with the 400. The only thing that annoys me about this reel is there's a little clicker button on the underside of the reel, and on cold, rainy days, or if your hand gets wet, that thing can scratch into your hand a little bit. Not the biggest deal. Ooh, just dropped it on my foot too. Ugh. I'll feel that tomorrow. Not the biggest deal, that little clicker, but it is something to be mindful of, and it is something that has scratched my hand up on occasion, especially on like cold, damp, rainy type of days. The 301 does not have that clicker button. So Cardiff, great, amazing option if you're getting into swim bait fishing. If you want to tick it up in price, probably running around maybe $220, is the Curado 301. This thing is a beast. It is a tank. You can feel it too, man, when you pick this thing up out of the box. It's got, it comes in a 4:7 ratio and a 6:6 ratio. This is the 6:6, the HG. This thing's ridiculous, dude. It's just a tank, man. It's just absolutely a tank. And that big spool kind of jacks up the gears per turn on you. So when you hear 4:7 ratio, you're like, oh my God, that's too slow. And it is slow. So you're not gonna be picking that one if you're trying to get like fast, like choppy baits, glide baits, stuff like that, top water stuff, like the Lunker Punker or any top water walking baits, you're gonna wanna go with that 6:6 instead of the 4:7. But if you're throwing some slow, mag drafts, Huddleston Deluxe, slow rolling some big soft baits, stuff like that, the 4:7 is gonna be dialed in for it, like, perfect. So that pretty much wraps it up, man, on the list here. I mean, I'm staring up at a wall of just all these reel boxes, and there's so many more you can talk about. You could go over to Japan and get a Bass One XT. Great reel. I've done videos on it. Amazing. You grab it on like Digitaco over in Japan. The Shimano Chaos, not for sale anymore on Tackle Warehouse. It may be gone. I mean, you still might be able to find it on eBay or Amazon or something like that. That reel has impressed me. It's got a big handle, the Curado knob, super comfortable, and it's cheap, man. I think it's like 89 bucks. So those are worth mentioning as well. Those are the best bang for buck before you start getting up into some like bigger money. So yeah, dude, and like I said, as far as gear ratios go, if you want something to basically do it all and you're not trying to dial in completely technique specific, go with that 7 gear ratio, the HD version of all these Shimano reels. That's gonna cover your basis for pretty much every technique You know, is it going to be absolutely perfect for every technique? No, but will it do it? Absolutely, and it'll do it well too. I mean, that's pretty much middle of the road. You can pretty much get away with that for everything. So there you have it, man. Those are what I think are the best Shimano casting reels you can buy for the money. Now, if you have any questions about gear ratio or anything else that pertains to these reels, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my knowledge. I love talking fishing, man. I can talk about fishing for days, son. And if you're new to the channel, definitely feel free to check out our playlist, Shimano Reels playlist, where I'm taking these reels apart, showing you how to tune them up and you know, perform maintenance on them. Obviously our fishing playlist, where we're actually going out and fishing. We have a lot of this type of content up on the channel, man, so definitely check it out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're into this sort of thing, don't forget to hit subscribe. We put a new video out every single week. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Later. If you want to see more videos just like this one, be sure to check out the rest of the Where We Wild YouTube channel, where we post a brand new video every week. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever we post a new adventure. Thanks for watching.
See ya.